Welcome, fellow movie buffs. I'm Jay.
I'm Cheryl.
Listen in as we break down movie and TV shows, tell you what's in the plot, and hear if we think you should have watched it when you had the chance.
Dun dun dun!
This is the Vaguely Nerdy Podcast, where every week this brother-sister duo gets together to discuss the box office, latest film and TV scoops, along with our latest movie or show review. And what we're getting into next. We are your host,
Cheryl
and Jay. Okay, so we don't have a movie this week because nothing came out. But we do still have a bunch of fun topics to discuss. We have Loki Season 2 news, some new trailers that came out this week, one for a new movie, one for a second trailer for a movie that we've already talked about on this show before. Elemental news, it's doing numbers on Disney+. We have some MAXXXINE news, which is a sequel. It's actually the concluding chapter, I believe, in a trilogy for the X and Pearl movies by A24. Good Burger 2 movie news, and at the very end we have a new segment called Fave, Least Fave, and Most Anticipated Movies, and we're just going to go over the movies that we've seen for 2023, the movies that we are looking forward to seeing for the rest of 2023, and doing a little bit of ranking.
We've talked about Loki, I think, when the trailer came out. So Disney apparently has jumped on the Ahsoka train and has moved. I think Ahsoka got moved up a day. I don't remember. Anyway, Loki was originally supposed to come out October 6th, which was a Friday. Now it is coming out Thursday, October 5th. So moved up a whole 12 hours. But the one thing they are doing this time is it's going to premiere during basically primetime TV hours, which is 9 p.m. Eastern time, which is the same time Ahsoka is coming on. And typically Disney Plus shows used to come out at like midnight or 3 a.m.
Yeah, you should just release at 3 a.m.
So people would, unless you stayed up, you would miss the wave of everybody who was watching it when it premiered, and you would just have to catch it when you woke up after dinner, during lunch, or whenever you watched it. So you have to stay off social media. This doesn't change being spoiled. Maybe makes it worse.
Yeah.
I don't know, but now they're like prime time. They're prime time in these Disney Plus shows.
I think it makes it a little bit better because they're giving everybody the chance to watch together.
Yes.
Very few people, and I have to say very few in the millions of people watch at new episodes of shows when they drop at 3 a.m. I mean,
wasn't me.
Some people watch shows and they drop at midnight, but 3 a.m. was a little bit of a stretch. So this way at 9 p.m., it's primetime TV. More people are up and can watch it at the same time. And I think it helps it for trending.
Oh, absolutely. When Ahsoka airs, if you don't watch it 45, 46 minutes, however long the episode is, people are immediately getting their memes together, getting their GIFs together, getting their hashtags together, and talking about the show. So if you don't see it, you literally have to stay off social media that whole night. So hopefully that also means Loki will be the type of show where we are talking about it and wanting to tweet about it as soon as the show is over. Kind of like WandaVision was. Yeah. But WandaVision came on too early, so you would miss the wave if you didn't catch the 3 a.m. crowd, the 3 a.m. Eastern crowd.
It says that there was a new teaser. I didn't see it. Did you?
It was short. It basically was just a clip showing that they changed. It's missed minutes. And then they just show that the date changed from the 6th to the 5th. It was just kind of fun it was only maybe like 30 seconds. So if you didn't see it, you didn't miss anything. But basically it was the announcement that it moved from the 6th to the 5th.
Okay. Yep.
It's in 2 weeks as of today. It's 2 weeks as of today.
Clearly the 9 p.m. time slot is doing really well for Ahsoka. It's one of its most watched Disney Plus original series because of that time slot. Loki was already one of the most watched Disney Plus original series when the first season came out, so I only expect it to grow from here.
Yeah, it's definitely probably the most anticipated Disney Plus show.
Yeah, absolutely. Trailers. We got a new trailer for a Nicolas Cage movie coming out this year called Dream Scenario. It's funny because Nicolas Cage has like 3 movies that have come out this year. He's been back to back with like these
like he's in that movie where he's like the old assassin or something.
He's been doing a lot of like independent, non-big, small production house films.
Independent.
So this looks pretty interesting. A24 is the production company behind this movie Dream Scenario. It stars Nicolas Cage. We watched the trailer, and basically it's about a college professor who somehow gets into everybody's dreams.
Everybody's dream overnight. The trailer doesn't say how it happens. I'm assuming the movie will, maybe.
Yeah.
But overnight, everybody has a dream or has their typical dream. But Nicolas Cage his character is in everybody's dream in some shape or form. So he becomes famous overnight. And when I first read the synopsis, that was literally the only sentence. I was like, what is this? But then I saw the trailer and it added a little more context. So it looks like the fame maybe goes to his head.
I don't know if the fame maybe goes to his head or whether whatever powers that be or whatever thing that's causing Nicolas Cage to appear in everybody's dreams is doing it for nefarious purposes.
It's not easy to tell, but it looks like towards the end of the trailer, he starts showing up in people's nightmares.
Well, it seems like he's in people's nightmares in the beginning.
Okay.
Because he has in the trailer, he has a conversation with the girl in an elevator, and I guess she's a stranger, but she recognizes him because he's in her dream. And he makes a comment like, "Oh, I hope I'm being good in your dreams." And she says, "Oh, you're not." So it seems like he just shows up no matter what type of dream you're having. He shows up in some way or form and plays some role. So if you're having a nightmare, he's like the scary figure in the dream. If you're having a good
Freddy
dream,
Krueger
he's like
fingers
the friendly figure.
In the trailer, I don't know. It looks interesting. It's definitely a Nicolas Cage movie. Like he's the perfect person to play this movie.
It's the better looking of the recent Nicolas Cage movies.
I would agree with that.
Because he had that movie called Pig, where he plays a guy whose pig was killed.
It's like John Wick,
and he goes like on a John Wick-esque revenge spree for the people who killed his pig.
Well, that sounds.
So he does like Nicolas Cage is definitely one of those actors that we say will do a movie. He'll do just about any film. I won't see about any film from Nicolas Cage, but this one does look interesting.
It looks interesting.
A24 has been on a little bit of a roll as far as films lately, and they've been killing it in the box office. They're really making a name for themselves for making good films with small budgets.
Talk to Me is A24, right?
Yep.
Okay. That's done well at the box office.
Talk to Me got greenlit for a sequel like almost immediately after release.
I heard that the writers had written the sequel when they wrote the first one, so they were like already ready to go.
Yeah. It's set to be in theaters November 10th. And are we
seeing
that's
this? The same child, that's the same day as the Marvels.
Is it?
You know I remember that day. I don't even know if it's wide release. I will see.
It's A24, so it could be limited, it could be wide. I'm interested in seeing it. If I don't see it in theaters, I'll definitely see it on my own. Maybe when it comes to digital or streaming. A24 movies also go to digital and streaming pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's labeled as a comedy, I think. So I don't know if it's a dark comedy or not.
It doesn't look like a dark comedy.
It doesn't. So I wonder if it's not really a nefarious reason. It's just unexplainable. I don't know. I'm curious of if there's like a plot twist. I'm assuming there's going to be some sort of.
It seems like the mystery is around what's causing him to appear in people's dreams and whether he knows why it's happening or not. So I'm interested in it. It looks pretty good. I like there's some wacky Nick Cage acting in it, and I like a wacky Nick Cage. So I'm interested in it.
I'll add this to the list, but not on the 10th because we got to see the Marvels.
We also got a second trailer for The Hunger Games Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. This is on our movie list. We are doing a episode reviewing this movie. It basically just showed some additional scenes of Snow, who is the main character, who in the original Hunger Games trilogy he orchestrates and runs the Hunger Games.
So I have a confession. Now we've seen this trailer, the first trailer a couple times before movies. And not until this trailer did I realize that the blonde head kid was Snow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
well,
he's the
because
president.
before one moment, like, he has long hair in some scenes, he has short hair in other scenes, and I was like, is he a twin? Is he playing two people? Is this the same guy? But it's the same kid. But I did not realize, because Hunger Games was okay to me. I wasn't a huge fan. I didn't even watch the last one.
The first Hunger Game was good. The second one was
okay.
okay. The third one was diminishing returns.
Okay,
and
I didn't even watch it.
It kind of follows, the books follow suit, because I read the second and third book.
Okay.
And it was kind of diminishing returns after the first one.
It looks like beautiful gowns. I'd say that much.
Yeah.
The CGI looks good. The production looks good. Viola Davis is she acting? Look like she giving it her all. I don't know. I'm optimistic about this because I wasn't really. I don't know.
Honestly, it could have. This is a prequel movie,
right?
Clearly,
that's the other thing. I'm like, we already kind of know what's going to happen with the kid, like the blonde kid, because he's Snow. So why?
Well, like I was saying, it's a prequel movie. It could have been a sequel. They could have just made a fourth Hunger Games, and the movie would have probably had the same plot and played out the exact same way.
Yeah, you're right.
Because it's a prequel, we know that everybody except for Snow involved in this movie is dead.
At this point,
nothing in this movie pretty much matters.
That's
at
the
all.
problem with prequels like this, is that we already know, like, it's been such a long time. We've kind of not thought about these characters for a while, and now we're just kind of like, well, we already know what happens. Yeah. Do I care enough about these characters? I mean, we're going to see it. But then it's like, do I care enough about these characters to know what they were doing before the movies? I don't know.
Yeah, Donald Sutherland played Snow in the original Hunger Games.
Right.
And from what we know about that character in those films is that he doesn't have any family or loved ones or friends. In this movie, he clearly has a sister. Hunter Schafer plays his sister.
I think he also has a brother.
He has a brother. He also has Rachel Zegler as a love interest. So going into this movie, we know that they're dead.
She might make it through the movie.
But
I don't know where she goes between the movie and where Katniss shows up, but
she's probably dead.
Oh.
Especially when we get to the original Hunger Games timeline, and she would have to be. I mean, she could be alive, but in this world, I think it's pretty rare that you would make it to Donald Sutherland's age in the universe of Hunger Games,
and not be like part of the way. Right. I don't know how many years before this takes place.
He looks like a young adult in his 20s.
So it's probably like 40 years or something. 40, 50 years before. Interesting.
Yeah. So everybody's dead. Hunter Schafer plays his sister, who is also in the games. She's dead.
She's dead. How do you know she's dead?
She's in the Hunger Games.
Oh, okay.
So Rachel Zegler and her both can't live.
I'm just saying they could make it beyond the movie. We just don't know what happens to them between.
By the time we get to original timeline,
yes, they have
dead.
Gone to pasture.
We know that Snow is dead because he died in Hunger Games.
Oh, did he? I didn't even know that.
So literally everybody involved in this is dead. Viola Davis is probably dead.
Oh my goodness. We gotta go to the next segment. He's said dead like 5 times. And y'all gonna be like, Well,
I'm just saying. I think that they should have just did a fourth movie instead of doing a prequel on a. It's the Black Widow effect.
But there's no fourth book, right? They're probably doing this one because the book was already written. They kind of have a script already to use. I'm guessing.
Well, Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes was released in 2020, so it came after the rest of these movies.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They went back and made the prequel.
And read and wrote a... I don't like that.
They went back and added a prequel to an already completed series.
It's given Hobbit.
I'm not saying that they're dead in a bad way. I'm just saying that...
The characters did not make it.
It's the Black Widow effect where you kind of remove the stakes when you do a prequel for a dead character.
We know what happened. That's what I'm saying. That's like, I don't know how much I'm going to care about the characters because I know they don't make it to the next movie, which is the Katniss Everdeen trilogy.
Yeah, I pretty much don't care about the contesting characters. I am interested to see what happens to Viola Davis because she's Viola Davis, and I'm interested to see her in whatever she's in. And I'm very interested to see what they're gonna do with the writing around Snow, because in Hunger Games he was the villain.
Right, he's bad. Like nobody likes him. In this movie,
it seems like they're trying to paint him as
he used to have a heart.
He used to have a heart, So I want to see what the writers do to try to convince us that we should feel for the fact that he turns into Darth Vader by the time we get to Katniss Everdeen Hunger Games.
We'll see. The runtime is 2 hours and 36 minutes, which feels too long.
Hunger Game movies are all long, actually.
So hopefully it's a good, moving, gripping, fascinating 2 hours and 36 minutes.
It's going to be, half of the movie is going to be them outside of the Hunger Games, like most of the Hunger Games are, preparing, and that's when they do all the character building. And then the middle of the movie to the end is going to be just the carnage that we're used to seeing.
Because it looks like in the trailer they're having a good time somewhere out in the field. But I don't know. We'll see. So this comes out November 17th, which is the weekend after the Marvels.
Also, it looks like we're going to see the world before it because by the time we get to the Hunger Games movies with Katniss, the world's kind of like everywhere outside of the capital city is like third world country. Okay. And it looks like we're going to see more of the world before it got to that point. So I'm interested in that, and maybe like the fall of society, and maybe we'll get a visual look at why they decided to do the Hunger Games.
Yeah, it looks like the production looks good. Yeah, for sure.
Elemental is doing numbers on Disney Plus. You want to go over this?
Kinda. No, I'm just playing. Yeah. So last episode we talked about how Little Mermaid went to Disney Plus, and it was the highest viewed Disney Plus movie since Hocus Pocus, and it had 16 million views. And about 5 business days later, Elemental went to Disney Plus, and it did 24 million. So it knocked Little Mermaid out the spot. Yeah. So now Elemental is the most viewed Disney Plus movie before Little Mermaid. But Elemental was good. So
it's bittersweet.
At least it's a good movie that, I enjoyed, and Little Mermaid is still number 2. So it's fine. I'm not hurt.
It's bittersweet. At the end of the day, Little Mermaid will go further, I believe. And
I think Little Mermaid had more of the merchandise, the cultural impact, all that jazz.
There's more anticipation for the Little Mermaid 2 than it is the Elemental 2, I think. I also think that Elemental kind of needed this a little bit more. Little Mermaid made a lot more money at the box office. It had a lot more conversation around it. Elemental kind of got ignored until...
It sure did once that first box office weekend hit.
Elemental kind of got ignored until the word of mouth finally got around to everybody, and then they started to go see it. It had pretty good legs. So I think it's it's good for Elemental.
Yeah, and Elemental did better overseas or internationally than Little Mermaid. But the box office was about, I want to say maybe $100 million difference between the two. So like we said, Elemental was a cute movie, heartwarming for kids and adults. Definitely check out our review in our previous episode. But that's good. I'm okay with it getting... It dusted Little Mermaid like it did.
I mean, most people saw Little Mermaid in the theaters multiple times.
Also true.
And less people saw Elemental in theaters at all.
Correct.
So more people were sitting at home waiting for Elemental to go on streaming versus people who had probably seen Little Mermaid, if not more than once. They had already seen it, so they were looking forward to coming on streaming, but
they didn't watch it that first 5 days.
Rush,
right? Exactly. Like Elemental, they hadn't seen it at all, so they're like, "Oh, I've been waiting. Let's go ahead and pop this up on the tube." So yeah, cool for Elemental. What? I don't think they've announced what next Pixar is. Wish Pixar?
It's actually a Walt Disney.
Oh, okay, so OG.
Animated.
Gotcha. Yeah, like a Little Mermaid.
But that'll be the next thing coming out of Disney.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. Sweet. Our next movie is, and I didn't know you pronounced it.
Well, it's pronounced MAXXINE.
Okay. I was like, you said XXX. I was like, is that how you say it?
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you talk about this one because you are the expert on this trilogy.
So MAXXINE is an upcoming slasher murder mystery whodunit. It's been described by A24. It is the third movie in the, I guess I'll call it the X trilogy, since X is the first movie. So X was a movie that starred Mia Goth. Well, first of all, it's directed by Ty West.
Is he a horror guy?
He pretty much made his name as like a very human slasher. He makes like human slasher horror films.
Non-supernatural. Thank you. My type of movie.
Mia Goth is the star of all three of these films. First starting with X, then Pearl, then Maxine. She also plays the same character in all three of those films. And in one of the films, she plays a dual role.
So these three movies are all connected, right? In some sort of fashion?
And the movie pays a lot of homages to classic slashers like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Friday the 13th. And it copies a lot of those classic horror slasher tropes.
Okay.
Like don't do drugs or you'll be killed.
Don't hide in a barn
or you'll be killed
with chainsaws.
Don't be naked or a woman or
in
you'll
a shower.
Be killed. Right. So the first movie X was starring Mia Goth, Kid Cudi.
Oh, I didn't know he was in that.
A bunch of other actors. And it was basically about a small film group.
Yes. I remember this
traveling to Texas. It took place in the 70s, 1979.
Right. In a barn. They were going to a barn or something.
A small film group travels, and also stars Jenna Ortega. Yes. She was in X as well.
Yep.
A small film group travels to Texas in 1979. They paid this elderly couple who lives on this farm to use their barn to film a porno.
Right.
They film a pornographic film because back in the 70s, porn went to theaters. So you could be a porn star and make a big name for yourself.
So they were trying to make it big with their new porn movie.
You could do adult films and transition into an actual Hollywood career in the 70s.
All right.
So they get to the barn and they are shooting their porn. And
shooting their porn.
Come to find out that the elderly couple are killers.
Right. Okay.
So the elderly couple starts picking them off one by one, and for different reasons you don't really know. It's not really made clear until pretty much the midway point to the end of the film. So I won't spoil it because I definitely think people should see it.
Okay.
Pearl came out, I think, a year after X.
Okay.
And Pearl was the prequel to X.
Okay.
Pearl actually took place in
so it was
1918.
Before. Oh, okay. Did I? Yes, because the way she's dressed up in that movie, you could tell is back in the day.
So Pearl takes place during World War One.
Very back in the day.
And Mia Goth stars as Pearl, who is also the elderly wife in X.
So she's doing a role of it. Okay.
So she plays an elderly version of herself in X, and she plays a
normal age
person in the 70s, in her 20s, in her early 20s in X. So Pearl is about how Pearl, the killer in X, came to be
I see.
Who she was.
Okay.
Why she became a killer. And in Pearl, she's trying to become a movie star. She's trying to become a famous actor.
Okay.
Because they didn't have they had film in 1918, but
not they're not going to the drive-in.
It was very different, right? It was on reel.
There had no box office opening weekend numbers back then.
It's very funny because in Pearl, she plays a woman named Pearl who wants to become an actress and is willing to do anything to become an actress.
Okay.
And then it transitions into X 60 years later, almost exactly 60 years later.
Okay.
Where she runs into a younger version of herself who is also trying to become an actress and willing to do everything to become an actress.
Okay.
And
so Maxine is, we don't know yet.
Well, we do.
Oh, we do. Okay.
So Maxine takes place immediately after X.
So it's still set in the 70s.
It's in the 80s. It takes place 1 year later.
Oh, okay.
So Maxine it says the plot is after being the only survivor of the events of a massacre.
Okay.
Maxine moves to Los Angeles in the early 1980s to pursue her dreams of becoming a famous actress. So she's the final girl. And she's moved to, this is the Scream 2, where she's moved to LA.
Right.
And she's still trying to pursue her dream of becoming an actress. I'm not sure if she's told her group of people that she's with in this movie, if she's the survivor of a massacre where everybody she knows
probably
was killed.
Not, because she doesn't want that to taint her acting career, I'm sure.
But the movies are really good. They've been received really well. Like I said, they were made under A24, who's a production house who is making a big name for themselves, making really big movies with very small budgets.
Mm-hmm.
I like the cast. The cast
Who else is in
stacked. So you have Mia Goth,
Uh-huh.
who is reprising her role as Maxine. Also, shout out to Mia Goth. She is also the villain in the Blade movie coming out with Mahershala Ali.
Yeah, buddy. Twitter was ablaze that day when I was
Mia Goth
announced.
is one of my favorite actresses.
She's like the Scream Queen, right? That's what they're calling her now?
Yeah,
or is that Jenna Ortega? Or is it
Mia Goth is a Scream Queen.
Okay.
But she's a good character actor. She
looked cuckoo for Cocoa Pops.
She plays crazy really well.
I haven't seen any of these movies, and I know she played cuckoo for Cocoa Pops in her movies.
I first saw Mia Goth in X when it came out.
Okay.
After that, I saw her in Pearl. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, okay, she's a very, very good actress. But I was fully convinced she was like one of the greatest horror actresses of all time after I saw her in Infinity Pool.
Oh, yes. She was in that.
You still haven't seen. It's a Brandon Cronenberg film.
You described it, though, so it feels like I've seen it. Very much so.
You would see Infinity Pool, because Infinity Pool is not horror. It's gross. A thriller. Oh. It's a thriller in the vein of Bone Collector.
Oh, I like Bone Collector.
So it's not like jump scary.
Is it like a thriller? No, that's more sci-fi. Like Spear or Event Horizon?
It's not
a little too sci-fi.
Infinity Pool is not supernatural.
Oh, okay. Oh.
I mean, it takes place in like the future, so you just suspend your disbelief and just say these are things that
could happen in the future.
And
okay.
It's about rich people. It plays on the rich people like to do weird things with their money trope.
Gotcha. Okay.
So Infinity Pool is really good. That's what convinced me she's a really good actor. But back to the cast of Maxine.
I forgot she was in Infinity.
Elizabeth Debicki, who we have seen in 2 movies that you like. One is a Marvel movie. One is a Nolan movie.
The name. Oh, that's Leonardo DiCaprio's wife in Inception.
No.
Dang.
Oh, gosh, no.
What Nolan movie?
Elizabeth Debicki is the lead actress in Tenet.
Oh, yeah.
She's Kenneth Branagh's wife.
She's very tall.
Mm-hmm. She was also in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes, you're right. Okay. I got my white actresses totally missed up there.
So Mia Goth,
close though.
Elizabeth Debicki, Michelle Monaghan, who we know from being Michelle Monaghan, and she's Tom Cruise's wife in Mission Impossible, who's supposed to be dead. Robert Cannavale, who is a TV actor, but he's been in a lot of stuff like The Third Watch.
Oh, I like Third Watch.
Yeah. Also Lily Collins.
Okay.
Halsey.
Yes.
Halsey is a musician. She was married to G-Eazy.
Oh. Well, she's making a name for herself, it sounds like. She finding her place.
And 2 of your favorite actors.
Hey.
One, Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon is in this?
He plays a private investigator.
He's going to do so well. I can just see it. I can see Kevin Bacon being an 80s private detective.
Mm-hmm. And Giancarlo Esposito.
Oh, he's the killer.
He plays... He plays her agent, and he plays an agent for the adult film industry. And
I can see it.
So he's going to play her agent.
I can. So he is not. I'm going to take that back. He's not the killer, but he is a jerk in this movie, and I ain't even seen it yet.
But reading the cast list, this is why I am excited about it, because this is a very Scream-esque cast of people.
It actually
names.
Gives elevated Scream, to be very honest.
It's like actual names, just like Scream. Well, I mean, at the time,
Scream had names.
The names.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
I mean, this is like these would be the people you would cast in like that type of slasher today.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it.
Have they started filming yet?
Yeah, it's complete. They started filming in April. They filmed from April 11th to May 24th. So they filmed it in just a little bit over a month.
Okay. You can do horror like that, though.
Yeah. Yeah, you can, because it's very minimal special effects.
That's why the budgets are so low.
You don't have to do it on like a green screen or volume.
On location.
They did. They filmed it on location in Los Angeles, where the movie takes place.
Okay. So they're probably just holding on to it until the strikes and stuff are over, so where they can find a place to put it.
It doesn't have a release date, but I knew when this was finished filming, because there would be like production photos. Okay. And it's just like everybody walking the super saturated streets of LA in the 80s. And even then in May, they didn't have a release date.
Interesting.
And that was way before the strike started. I mean, there was strike conversation.
I think A24 also probably has to be careful since they're smaller with like budget and how they put out movies. So they probably have to like line them up to where they're like, okay, guys, this is how many movies we got money for this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's plan this out.
But X in Pearl, very well received, made a lot of money back. So I don't think they're going to have any trouble with this being a success
probably
at
not.
all. I didn't go see the other movies in theaters because I was late to the Mia Goth party, but
sounds like this is going to be on the podcast.
I would definitely see this in theaters.
Might be losing some sleep
as soon as it's
not for a good cause.
It's not supernatural. The killer's human. So
all right, that's what I can handle. So we'll put it on the list whenever we get a release date.
On to a different genre of movie. We have Good Burger 2, which premieres straight to Paramount Plus on November 22nd.
I don't know how many people have Paramount Plus to watch this, but we'll see. I guess we'll see I don't know what else has come out on Paramount Plus that's been like significant.
Actually, Paramount Plus is ranked amongst the network-owned streaming services.
Okay.
I think Paramount Plus is ranked at the top.
Probably behind like HBO Max, Now Max, Netflix, and Hulu or something.
Right, but that's because Paramount owns Paramount Plus, so Mission Impossible, all of those Paramount movies go there first for streaming. You
know what? What was John Wick going to? Was that Paramount?
That was Stars.
Never mind.
Transformers was Paramount.
Okay. Yeah. I'm about to say something. Okay, so they do get big stuff. All right, fair enough. Go on, Paramount.
The teaser was about 40 seconds, and it just shows Keenan and Kel reuniting. It shows a look of their new staff. It says a new location, so I'm assuming Good Burger has moved to a different city.
So the premise is 25 years later, Dex goes back to work with Ed at Good Burger, but he's not proud of being in the same place he was again decades later.
So maybe he's down and out and he ends up back at Good Burger because it's the only place he can go back to work?
Probably. I'm guessing he's like a failure at whatever job he's at, so now he has to go back. He looks
It describes him as an inventor.
Was he an I have not seen the original Good Burger in so long. I can't tell you. Outside of them being burger boys, I have no idea what they were doing.
I have to do a rewatch because I don't remember Dex being an inventor.
Did he invent the Mondo Burger? Is that
no? Mondo Burger was a competition
across the street. Okay, never mind. I don't know. I guess I will have to sit through Good Burger to know what the heck even happened.
Good Burger 1 wasn't bad. Good Burger 1
was good. I would say Good Burger 1 was probably a quote unquote classic. I have a feeling, I don't want to curse it, knock on wood, that Good Burger 2 might give us coming to America vibes. And Lord, that movie was not unnecessary.
I have a hunch that it could go in that direction, but I could be very wrong, and I kind of hope I'm very wrong. Coming to America suffered by the fact that it went from rated R to PG-13.
It was also too late.
It was too late. Well, they could have made it good had they been able to make it the same way they made the first one. Yeah. Rated R jokes.
Yeah.
That's what made
they were trying to capture
the
like
first Coming to America
families, I guess.
You have all the reoccurring cast, and then you add people like Leslie Jones, and you add other stand-up comedians, and you add Tiana Taylor, and you put them in a PG-13 box, and that sucks. You're right. So,
and just the plot wasn't good either.
Good Burger was already a family film, so they don't have to go. They can hit jokes on the same wavelength,
right? Because it was already rated at what it was rated.
We are older, so.
Will the jokes not be as funny?
They're gonna, I think, because they're doing the sequel so late. They're gonna have to pander to this new generation of people to get more people to watch it.
Either they're gonna have to do that and pander to us at the same time, and I don't know how that's gonna work.
Yeah, because our generation of people don't like this current generation of people. Like
as a whole, just like this generation doesn't. But I think
we don't all find the same things funny. Like we intersect on Twitter, but that's about it.
I think that's why Coming to America was so not well received, because we were like, this isn't what we were, like you said, it was rated. We got the rated R version, and we want the rated R version now, not this family friendly version.
I think they have the ability to still make it funny. I'm not looking forward to it, but I will watch it.
Yeah, it comes out November 22nd, so that is Thanksgiving season.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're trying to get people that are at home together as a family, trying to watch it all at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. I'll watch it just because we can't talk about it. I can't talk about something I haven't seen. Although, no, that's not true because I do that with horror movies all the time. We'll see it.
We'll see it.
We're not going to review it on this podcast. It's like a whole episode, I don't think.
Right.
But it might make a bullet point in our agenda.
We will definitely watch it and give our thoughts on it.
I like that.
So let's go ahead and move into our new segment. This is Fave, Least Fave, and Most Anticipated Movies of 2023. So Cheryl put together a list of all the films that we have seen this year, and we're going to go down it and just give like quick impressions.
Yeah.
And
what we thought, if we liked it.
I guess we can categorize them as a fave,
a least fave, what's in the middle? Just okay?
Okay. A meh.
A meh. Okay,
a
so
meh.
Fave, least fave, meh.
And I'll keep the notes.
Okay. And the list is 21 movies long, y'all. So buckle in. If you riding to work, turn it up a little bit. Maybe you might be you stuck in rush hour. This is going to be perfect for you.
Yeah, we started the podcast late, and we had already seen 21 movies.
Right.
So,
and we still have, we'll talk about that in our most anticipated movies. There's still a good chunk of movies that are coming out this year. We're in a little bit of a lull right now.
Yeah.
But come November, actually come like November, December. And then there's a couple of movies before then. But right now we're at 21.
Yeah, a lot of movies came out this year and we just didn't get the chance to talk about them.
Right.
So this is
now's our chance.
Yeah.
We can let it all out.
So Cheryl put together the list of movies in the order that they came out this year. So
I think I'm pretty accurate. There might be one or two out of place, but we start from the beginning of the year all the way till now.
Yeah. So we're going to start with number 1, which is Megan.
So Megan is a horror movie about I want to say it's Chucky-esque.
Yeah, it's like Child's Play.
Oh, here we go. Are we spoiling or not spoiling? I say we don't spoil. We just give our
We can give a synopsis and we can say non-spoiler likes and dislikes about the movie.
Okay, perfect. Because we don't want you guys to like not listen to the episode because you think we're going to spoil it. So Megan was a horror movie that came out in January. I think it was. It's like one of the first movies of 2023. Now, as you guys already know, I don't do horror unless it's not supernatural. And Megan the dog was not supernatural. She was like AI.
Technically, she's not supernatural. That's correct.
She's like very smart computer AI type of situation.
Creeps right up to the line of supernatural without crossing over.
I could handle it. So if I can handle it, y'all, you can handle it. If you're like, it's too spooky, I don't do horror at all. I was able to watch it and enjoy it. So you can watch it too. So this would be on my fave list because this movie was hilarious.
Yeah. Megan, I remember us seeing Megan in a very small theater.
Yes, we were in the back.
It was about 6 of us in there, and it was a good time. It was funny. It was very much like Child's Play because the first Child's Play was funny. Chucky was a funny dog. I mean, his humor was dark, but it was supposed to be played for laughs.
Yeah,
and especially because it's centered around an actual child, like
Megan
did.
Right. Although I would say Chucky is probably, for me, Chucky is more of a horror to me than Megan was.
Because Chucky was a man, a serial killer in a doll's body.
You're right.
And Megan was just an AI.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
She technically wasn't a killer. She didn't start out as a killer.
Yeah, she didn't start out that way. But things started quickly.
Things I liked about Megan, I liked the writing.
Yes.
I liked the fact that it played on real world topics centered around kids and how quickly they get over toys.
Oh, yes.
And how quickly they bond with toys.
Yes, because
they
Megan
really like.
was a doll that was created for a kid in the movie. Yep. So they did that. The writing was very good. All the acting was good. There wasn't any character that was, sometimes horror movies, there's always like the annoying character. There's like the dumb cop. There's like the whatever. But everybody kind of played a good role and they all kind of meshed well together. And
at some points you kind of rooted for Megan, even though you knew she was the villain of the movie. She really just wanted to protect the little girl that owned her. So you kind of wanted to root for her, especially if there was somebody that was opposing the little girl.
Mm-hmm.
So I
she
definitely
had good
liked Megan.
intentions.
Yeah, she definitely had good intentions. Her method was poor.
Yeah. Poor choice of acting it out, I would say.
I'll definitely put it under fave.
Yes,
for me
it is a fave for both of us. All right. Next we have Ant-Man 3, which we came out in February, if I'm not mistaken. This was the first Marvel movie of 2023. We were super amped and hyped for it. I will let you go first. Fave, least favorite, meh.
I'm gonna go with meh.
I'm gonna go with meh.
And it pains me to go with meh because I love comic books. I am not an Ant-Man fan. I say like I'm not a comic book Ant-Man fan.
Okay.
Especially not the Scott Lang Ant-Man. But I do like Paul Rudd in the role, and I like Ant-Man's movies.
Yes.
I thought the first one was a
first
knockout
one
of
is
the park.
Still good.
The second one was a little bit of a doozy.
That was a meh.
Especially in regards to the villain.
Correct.
It pains me to give Ant-Man 3 a meh because I just feel like they just made bad choices.
My biggest thing with Ant-Man 3 was, I know it was called Quantumania, which, hint, hint, they spent a lot of time in the quantum realm. I don't think that's a spoiler at this point.
I like the title.
Yeah, it was just, I don't know. Like, when they were in the Quantumania and they, like, got big like they typically do, they didn't look big.
Well, and that's the big meh for Ant-Man 3 for me.
Yeah.
Which is they chose to film the entire movie in front of the volume. Which was which was an awful mistake.
It's CGI for, I don't know, 80% of the movie.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
They spent about 80% of the, maybe more, in the quantum realm. Maybe
they spent
90.
most of the movie in the quantum realm.
Yeah.
And all of the quantum realm was CGI.
Correct. It had to be. Because there's just so much going on in it. But it was still kind of like...
It was like on the level of Tron bad. Where Tron was... Everything in Tron looked fake because it was a completely
fake.
Made up digital world. The visual effects weren't bad.
No,
visual
they weren't
effects
bad.
did not look bad, but an entire movie cannot be made of an entire environment can't be made of visual effects.
Yeah, it wasn't. We were expecting more, or I was expecting more. I will say Jonathan Majors did good as Kane.
Yeah,
that
he was
probably
a good villain.
Best part of the movie, and typically when the villain is like the best part by a kind of miles, at least for me, miles. That's not really.
He definitely outacted everybody in the movie.
Correct.
Except for Michelle Pfeiffer. Michelle Pfeiffer, I feel like she acted well. I really believed that. I mean, Michelle Pfeiffer has been acting a lot longer than everybody else in the movie.
Correct. Probably not. Her and Michael Douglas are probably
the two of them.
Yeah.
I enjoyed Michael Douglas in the movie, but he didn't have as many scenes.
No.
I enjoyed Michelle Pfeiffer in the movie because she was kind of the secondary character.
For sure. Absolutely.
It was Kang. It was Jonathan Majors as Kang the villain. Paul Rudd was the main character. Michelle Pfeiffer was bumped up to secondary character because she knew so much about the quantum realm. They had to put her in more scenes because she knew so much about being there.
Right.
And I walked away from the movie thinking the only thing this movie ultimately did was introduce us to Kang.
Correct.
At the end, it didn't do anything for the rest of the characters. It didn't do anything for Ant-Man.
No.
It didn't do anything for his daughter.
No. And we're not going to spoil it, but they could have ended the movie differently and made it. Literally how they ended the movie could have changed the whole impact of what happens next with Ant-Man.
Yeah.
But they went with the more
I feel like
safe
the movie had
choice.
2 endings, and they should have went with the first ending.
Correct. They definitely could have cut it maybe like 15 minutes earlier and wouldn't be like, oh snap, what's gonna happen next? But it was just more like, guess we'll see Kang later.
Great after credit scene though. Won't spoil it, but the after credit scene was really good. And it did a really good job at setting up the future of the MCU, but it was kind of meh. Also, I would like to add, if you're gonna shoot an entire movie on either green screen or the volume, it makes it worse when, so we work remote.
Yes.
So we are used to Microsoft Teams and we're used to Microsoft Teams backgrounds.
Correct.
You know the background is fake because there's
The way
nothing
that-
in the forefront
Oh,
other
I
than the
know what you're
person
getting
to
at.
contrast the fact that everything behind you is
Yeah.
fake. So it's weird when you shoot a movie entirely on green screen
Mhm.
and you have an entire world computer generated behind a person and there's nothing in front of them.
And they're not interacting with the background very much.
Because
That's
it
how you
makes
can
it
tell
look
it's fake.
2D. It
Yeah.
makes it look like you're watching
Like a
something.
team's background.
Yeah, it makes it look like it makes the whole movie looks like a team's background. So if you're gonna put everything in the background, put some things in front of them because it looks like they're just walking on a treadmill and
Yeah.
you just have a rolling screen moving with them.
You're right.
You have to it's okay to you can spend some money designing some sets.
They got, listen,
Like,
we know they
Put some
got
coffee tables in front of them or something, or put some
We-
statues something in front of them.
We know they have it because Ahsoka looks great.
Yeah.
So Disney got the money, and hopefully with the Marvels, the tide has turned. Well, you know what? Take that back. Guardians of the Galaxy looks good. We ain't there yet.
Yeah.
So there was no excuse.
Yeah.
There was no excuse.
You could tell watching it that every scene was filmed in an empty room and
Yeah.
people didn't actually, and it goes back to I always think of when I see a movie that's completely shot on volume.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me think of Ian McKellen complaining about filming The Hobbit
Okay.
because he actually had a breakdown on set filming The Hobbit.
I don't
and
think I
said
knew
he
this.
didn't want to act anymore because when he was filming The Hobbit, in the scenes where they're inside the Hobbit's houses,
Yes.
he had to film those alone.
Oh.
And all the lines and all his dialogue, he was talking to nothing. And
He
he
thought
would
he
have
was
a
going
nervous
crazy.
breakdown because Ian McKellen has been acting forever. And
Mhm.
his idea of acting is...
Sir Ian McKellen.
You're Sir Ian McKellen. His idea of acting is, like most people's idea of acting, you are in the room, in
With
the shot,
the
with people, having
He's
back
like,
and
this
forth.
too much CGI funny business y'all about to do, and I ain't
Yeah.
with it.
So, just
It was
do
man.
better. Do better.
You know what? I hope Ant-Man gets to redeem himself. Maybe not a whole movie.
I don't
but
think Ant-Man is getting a 4 and he shouldn't.
No, but I think hopefully the character is able to have a comeback of some sort to finish up his
He
arc.
can work well being a cameo or guest appearance in somebody else's movie. He was really good in Civil War.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Something like that.
So, yeah.
Something like that.
Next movie on the list, Scream 6.
Which came out in March. The fact that I'm remembering all
I
these.
I definitely don't remember.
I'm
the
probably
months
going
these
to stop
movies came
after
out.
this one because now I'm like, I don't even know, honestly.
Scream 6. Fave, least fave, or meh?
I will give Scream 6 a fave.
Scream 6 was definitely a fave for me.
Scream 6, once again, a horror movie.
Mhm.
And I'll say my caveat that I said with Megan, if I can handle it and you are not a horror person, you can also handle Scream.
Yeah. You're a slasher fan.
Right. Now, however, you need to see Scream 5. Don't go into it with
You
Scream
do.
6.
So,
Or maybe even all of them.
to preface Scream 6, Scream 5 is the reboot it's a soft reboot,
Correct.
but a
So all new
continuation of the
people.
existing franchise.
Right. So there's new people, new
Mhm.
characters, kind of a new storyline.
Right. So Scream 5 is the beginning of Scream movies that don't rely on Neve Campbell
And her crew.
and her crew
Yep.
to be in the movie. We're focused on a new ingenue, which they call new lead actresses in films who are just now being discovered.
Okay.
Just like Scream 5 was the soft reboot of Scream 1, where it takes
Mhm.
place in Woodsboro.
Yep.
Scream 6 is the soft reboot of Scream 2, where it takes place in college.
Mm-hmm.
Just like Sydney went to college in Scream 2. The difference is it takes place in New York. A lot of people were confused when this movie came out because they were like, oh, it's the first time Scream isn't taking place in Woodsboro. And it's like, no, I have to remind people all the time. Scream 2 took place in Ohio. And that's like one of the best things about Ohio.
The last one was the last one in Woodsboro?
Took place in Hollywood.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like the change of setting.
It introduced more chaos.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that they were in like a big city.
Yeah.
Way
and it
more
was
chaos.
Halloween.
It was Halloween, spooky season.
Ghostface was popular, so there were
Yep.
pedestrians dressed
And
up as
people
Ghostface.
knew the characters from Scream 5 because it was a story around them.
Yeah.
And they basically followed them to the new place.
Because at this point, this has been going on for decades.
Yeah.
In this universe of Scream,
Mhm.
so anybody that's involved in any of the previous murders is
Yeah.
famous to a degree
Right.
now because of
Right.
it.
So
Scream,
a lot of chaos.
Yeah.
Moving into a new city.
What I liked about the movie, the change of setting, the writing. I like that we get a new core cast because the original Scream is the trio, which is Sydney, Gail, and Dewey.
Yep.
We get a new trio. We get
it's kind of 4 now.
We get the
it's
core
quad.
4.
Yeah, core 4.
They call themselves the core
That's
4.
Right,
so we get a new core 4 of main characters. And I liked how they brought in reoccurring characters.
They did a good mix of old and new in this one. And my only critique would be the end. I don't know if
the killers were my least favorite.
Yes, and it wasn't the way they ended. It was the people who acted. It was the actors. Maybe not the main guy, but the other two, I was like, y'all not really selling it for me.
Yeah,
I'm not sold.
Once the ghost face reveal happens, that's when the movie starts to fall apart. Because the thing about Ghostface is you have to suspend your disbelief in Scream when the killer is wearing the Ghostface mask.
Yes.
The Ghostface makes them scarier.
Right.
And it kind of makes them superpowered to a degree.
Oh, they be kicking behind in that mask.
They can kick behind. They're super, no matter who the killer is revealed to be.
Right.
When they're wearing the Ghostface mask, they're like stronger, they're faster, they're more menacing.
Okay.
So
Thanos behind the scenes.
When you take the mask off, you still have to be convincing that you
like
are
you
Ghostface.
did that earlier in that scene.
After they did the Ghostface review, I was like, I don't believe you were the killer.
Yeah, that was my only critique was that I was like, y'all not selling that y'all were the people behind the
Yeah.
I'm gonna just go with it though. I'm gonna go with it, but it was still good. I'm looking forward to the next one, which they haven't started filming.
They haven't started filming yet, but they do have the director who is the director for Freaky.
Right. They did announce that.
So I'm excited about it. They haven't started filming it yet, but
we'll be recapping and reviewing when it does.
Yeah.
Scream is your favorite horror franchise.
Scream is my favorite horror franchise.
So he knows all the details. He can tell you about Scream. Maybe we should do like a Scream recap review.
Maybe before the next one comes out,
dive
we should
or
do
something.
A Scream deep dive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet. All right. Next movie is Dungeons and Dragons, which maybe came out in March. I don't know. I'm losing days at this point. Dungeons and Dragons is it's based on the game, but you don't have to have played the game to watch the movie. Neither one of us have ever played Dungeons and Dragons, like the actual game.
Although I am playing Baldur's Gate 3.
So now he knows it like the back of his hand.
I am a pro at Dungeons.
Video game?
Dungeons and Dragons.
But the movie, you don't have to have any backstory of Dungeons and Dragons. And I will say, this might be one of my favorite movies.
This was one of my favorite movies of the
2023.
year. Yeah.
For sure.
Dungeons and Dragons was a sleeper hit.
It should have done better at the box office. I'm like, you guys missed out. It was so good.
Yeah. I don't think the production company behind Dungeons and Dragons had a lot of faith in it because Dungeons and Dragons was very, very good. It was very fun. It was a very good
fun movie.
Action adventure fun movie.
It didn't require, it was actually a simple plot, but it was still a good plot. It still has some plot twists. It still has all the main
fantasy
characters.
World, and it was in a fantasy world, and it wasn't a very long movie.
No,
it had and anybody who knows anything about Dungeons and Dragons or doesn't, you should know Dungeons and Dragons has a very, very deep, large world.
D&D, baby.
It's full of so much overwhelming lore, and they managed to kind of hit all of that.
Okay, now
in the movie.
Now you're an expert. You know?
They managed to actually hit all of that in the movie. They may not have went in depth, but they did a good job of showing it's not just humans. It's it's elves. It's all these different races.
So they kind of hit both beats. If you didn't watch Dungeons and Dragons or didn't play, I should say, you still enjoy the movie. But if you did play it, then you could connect some of the elements and callbacks. It sounds like to the game.
Yeah, a lot of the places. And because I'm playing Baldur's Gate, which is a video game based in the world of Dungeons and Dragons, and a lot of places and a lot of names and a lot of lore and things that are in this movie, that are in the game, I recognize from this movie because I've seen the movie. Okay. And it's really good. It was well acted. It had Chris Pine, Michelle Rodriguez. Michelle Rodriguez did a really, really good job in the movie.
This might have been my favorite role from her, maybe.
Yeah. This is my favorite Michelle Rodriguez role, definitely. And they gave her more to do. We usually only see her in like Fast and Furious.
Where she's like the side character.
And there's so many people in Fast and Furious.
Too many people in Fast and Furious.
She did a really good job in this movie. She does action very, very, very well. Chris Pine does comedy very, very well.
She even did like some emotional, both of them.
Oh, she did emotion really well too.
There were some emotional beats there as well.
Had cameos from other actual actors who have been in big things. And I don't know. It's hard to describe, but I really, really like the movie.
We recommend it. And it's for kids.
If you're a fan
and
of
families.
If you're a fan of it, has a world. I want to say the world is definitely much bigger than the world of Game of Thrones. It's not as dark.
It's got a Jumanji vibe.
Yeah, it's very Jumanji. It's very different settings and different hijinks that go with a different setting.
With a plot that kind of is like it's not an undertone of a plot, but the plot is, straightforward. Right. You can follow. But it's got like a lot of emotional beats, comedy beats. And it was just a good time. It's
very fantasy.
Yes.
There's dungeons, there's dragons, but there's also humans and elves, and there's capital cities, and there's little neighboring towns, and there's people who transform into owl bears.
You know what? It's like a mashup of Lord of the Rings and Jumanji and Jungle Cruise and Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, it's kind of like if they made a Dungeons and Dragons world, like at a resort, I would absolutely go.
Yeah, it was good. I think we both have seen it at least twice already. Yep.
Yeah.
If that's not an indicator that it's a good movie, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
All right.
Next, we have John Wick 4. I went ahead and put this under fave.
I see you typed it up before you even started talking about it. John Wick 4 is a fave. I mean, I would say John Wick 4 to me was better than John Wick 3.
You
don't agree?
You have to remind me what. Okay, because the John Wicks are very, very similar, so they kind of
John
run
Wick
together.
1, John Wick 1.
What was John Wick 3?
John Wick 3 was with Halle Berry.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No. Yeah, I liked it better than John Wick 3. John Wick 3 was very, very good though.
It was good. It just dragged a bit. Like the story dragged a little bit for me in 3.
John Wick 4 was
long,
a great conclusion.
Yes.
And it had the best of everything that had been offered in John Wick.
Correct.
It had the best of the action.
It had one of the best movie scenes I've ever seen in it.
One of the best action sequences ever.
There's actually 2. I'll say
and that's
2.
saying a lot because all of John Wick's have some of the best action sequences
There's 1
ever.
in 4. If you haven't seen it, you'll know it when you see it. So it's like, that's it. That's it right there.
My most egregious John Wick action scene is in John Wick 2 when he has the horse kick the guy's eyes out. When he smacks the horse and he has him double kick the guy's like multiple faces apart.
Yeah.
This one had a scene that was even more egregious and ridiculous than that.
But it was so good.
It was ramped up to 10.
So good.
John Wick 4 also introduced new characters.
A very good new character too, though.
Are we thinking of the same person?
Are we thinking of the person who has a bunch of other relatives?
Thinking of the same character in Ahsoka?
Hold on. Who was in Ahsoka and John Wick?
I'm gonna give you a moment to think about it.
Oh no! Wait! We just seen who is in Ahsoka and John Wick.
This is a
Lord
actor.
Okay, male.
In the first episode of Ahsoka. Cameo. And we loved him in John Wick.
It is not Hayden Christensen because he was not in the first episode.
Hayden Christensen was not in John Wick.
You're right. Oh no! Hold on. Give me a moment. Who was in the first episode of Ahsoka as a cameo? Tell me. I don't know.
Clancy Brown.
Okay. I need a
He
picture.
was the Harbinger.
Oh, yes. Yes. Okay.
He was the guy with the hat. He was in Ahsoka.
Okay.
Yeah.
So no,
Who were you talking about?
I was thinking about the Scar.
Oh yeah, the Scar.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was
a good villain.
Good. He was a very good villain.
The least acting he's ever done in anything. Like the least amount of acting.
Yeah, but he was able to convey,
like
with the few words he had, he was able to be like, oh, okay, all right, you about the business.
I think the movie was a little long.
It was the longest John Wick.
It was. I think it spent a little bit more time on the villains than the old John Wicks did. The previous John Wicks did.
Yeah,
but I liked it.
Yeah, I don't know what they would have cut out, but it did. It was long. It was the longest John Wick of the quad.
Yeah.
So
65. We watched 65 at home. And this is a dinosaur movie.
It is.
It stars Adam Driver.
It does.
And it is basically about humans
crash landing
on Earth.
Wait, were they?
Well, they weren't humans.
We don't know.
These are
people. Human-like. They look like humans. Let's put it that way.
I guess they're humans they're humans that originated from a different planet. They did not originate on Earth. Human life did not. I think it's trying to say that human life did not start on Earth.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
they look like humans, whoever they are.
So it was about Adam Driver, who is piloting a ship, which is housing a lot of people, colony-sized ship of people. They're supposed to be going to a new planet to settle. They end up he ends up flying into a meteor shower and crash lands on Earth 65 million years ago while dinosaurs walk the Earth.
Yep. Fave, meh, or least fave?
I'm going to give it a meh.
Dang. I wonder if we're going to ever vary, but I will also give it a meh.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a meh.
Because the movie was too short.
The movie was like an hour and 19 minutes.
Once it started getting cracking, we got to see the dinos. It was over, and I'm like, hello?
The movie felt like one of those Disney Plus specials, like Werewolf by Night. It felt that short. Even though it wasn't that short. It felt very, very short.
Yeah.
What got us excited about this movie was the dinosaurs.
Correct.
Because we love dinosaurs
in it.
Anytime there's dinosaurs in a movie or a TV show, I'm going to watch it.
Sign me up.
Yeah, because it's dinosaurs.
Yeah.
It was good. The mehness is because it was short, and I feel like they ended the story way too early.
Yeah, I wanted more. And that's typically a good sign, but we didn't get it. So meh it is.
Yeah. So meh it is. It also stars Ariana Greenblatt, who is blowing up.
Baby Ahsoka.
Yeah, she's Baby Ahsoka. She is also the
Baby Gamora.
Baby Gamora. She is also one of the secondary lead actresses in Barbie.
Yes,
she plays the daughter.
Yep, she plays the daughter in Barbie. So Miss Mama is going places, as I like to say.
So she's blowing up. I liked Adam Driver in it.
He was good. He was good. She was good. The visuals were good. Beautiful gowns.
Adam Driver was in the military, and he said this is the very first film where he got to use some of his training.
Okay.
While filming, and he was very excited about it. The movie could have went on for another 30 minutes.
30 to
45. And I was having a good time. It just ended very, very quickly.
Yeah.
It was kind of like they just ran out of stuff to do.
They were like, okay, well, wrap it up. Let's go. Next movie, please.
The dino action was good. I liked the way that they made the dinosaurs look more menacing, more reptilian.
They were less.
Who knows what dinosaurs actually look like?
Hey, Apple TV knows.
Kind of. Every documentary about dinosaurs is everybody's best guess based on the research that they have.
Raptors had feathers. That's what Apple TV
I like the way that these dinosaurs were distinct. They didn't look like this T-Rex didn't look like a Jurassic Park T-Rex. It was longer.
Yeah, it was a little different.
Spikier.
Yeah. They meant business either way.
Yeah, they did. So I'm going to put it in the meh because I feel like it was a missed opportunity.
If you need a short something about dinos, I recommend it.
It's quick.
Yeah, it was quick.
It is quick, and it's not action-packed from front to back, but the action that it does have in it is really good. It's tense.
The acting is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, next movie on the list, Evil Dead Rise.
I can't rate this one, so I'm sitting it
Which
out.
you cannot rate because you did not see it.
This is a supernatural horror, which I don't do.
Evil Dead Rise is supernatural horror. I would absolutely not recommend Cheryl watch this. I mean, I poke fun, but I absolutely
I won't sleep for days.
I don't want to see you disturbed. So
I would
never tell you to watch Evil Dead Rise.
Listen, Candyman kept me up. So if it's worse than Candyman, I can't do it.
Evil Dead Rise was a really good movie. So just a little background about Evil Dead Rise for anybody who doesn't know anything about Evil Dead, and for you, because you don't know anything about Evil Dead.
We're all learning together here, folks.
Evil Dead is an anthology horror movie series.
I know there's multiple.
Yeah. So the first 3 are centered around this.
There are 3 previous ones.
There are 3 originals.
Oh, okay.
There's Evil Dead. There's Evil Dead 2.
Okay.
And then there's Evil Dead Army of Darkness, which
sounds
all center around Ash.
Dark. Okay.
And then there was a reboot, Evil Dead, which wasn't. It was a soft reboot, so it still took the previous Evil Dead, at least the first 2 movies, into account. And then there's Evil Dead Rise, which is not a soft reboot, but a continuation.
Okay.
But the reason I say it's an anthology series is because Evil Dead is about a group of people or a person running across this book called the Necronomicon, which is the
Dark
Book
Hold
of the Dead. It's the Darkhold. Well, if you read it, basically you unleash the spirits inside of it, who the spirits just want a human host.
Okay.
To spread the evil from person to person and eventually get out and spread the evil across the world.
Of course.
When they're like zombies. They're called deadites. Okay. Once the spirit goes in you, you die. And you become like a deadite, like which is a zombie, not fully a zombie, but you look like a zombie, but you're really possessed by a spirit that's been in hell for looking for a host for so long.
They don't look good in the trailers.
They don't look good. So Evil Dead Rise, and it's also anthologies because it's always a different book. So there are different copies of the Necronomicon that are buried and stored in different places across the world. So every movie they play it like it's the first movie, but it's the book is different. And therefore, the spirit that the book houses is different. It's not always the same spirit, but they're always a deadite.
I didn't know that.
So Evil Dead Rise takes place in an apartment building.
I could pick that up from the trailers.
It's centered around a mom, her sister, and the mom's 3 kids. Okay. And it plays out the tropey way. The 3 kids stumble upon this evil book that's been kept in this shelter under their parking garage. There's an earthquake. Rips a hole in their parking garage where they discover there's a secret room under their parking garage that has all this evil stuff, and they find the Book of the Dead.
And they decide to read
it. Of course, and the book has teeth. Because it's an evil book.
Like Harry Potter.
It's bound, the book is written in human blood, and the binding of the book is bound in human flesh.
And we read it anyway. Huh?
And they read it anyway like because these are dumb kids. They unleash the spirits within the book. The evil spirits jump from person to person, and all heck possessing loose. Them all, and all heck breaks loose.
Okay.
Evil Dead was a really, 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 really good movie. Okay. It's one of the best entries in the franchise.
All right.
Evil Dead does a really good job at horror. Number 1, gore.
I can believe it.
You think you've said before that you're good with gore. You're not good with this type of gore.
I bet I ain't.
Spoiler alert, there's a scene where the deadite spirit has taken over like multiple people in the building.
Oh, and that's not good.
They dig into the stomach of one of the main characters that's also been possessed by a deadite, and they bound together and become a human spider.
Nope.
Full of human people and limbs.
No, I'm not.
And they chase the little girl screaming down the hallway.
I'm visually thinking of it.
I would never have you watch Evil Dead. They also do a lot of demonic voice work.
Oh,
so the voices change as they become possessed and get deeper.
You just went to bed that night, huh? Like nothing was wrong.
I did. Well, like I said, eventually the body grows tired. You can't stay up forever. Eventually the body gets tired. You fall asleep.
And then it just goes in your dreams.
Evil Dead was a really good entry in the franchise. I will call it a fave.
All right. We got another fave on the list, guys.
I think
Jared recommends it, so go see it if you
should absolutely see it. If you can handle that type of horror, you should absolutely see it. 100%.
Unsupernatural me, please.
Guardians of the Galaxy 3, number 8.
That came out in May. I'm back on where I know when movies came out. I would call this a fave.
Was it the best Guardians of the Galaxy?
No, not for me.
The second one was the best Guardians of the Galaxy for me.
Same. And I didn't realize people thought the second one wasn't that good until this one came out. But Guardians of the Galaxy 3, hello, was good. And I think because of previous Marvel movies not being like up to par everybody's standard, they were calling this the best movie that has ever happened in Marvel. And I'm like, did y'all forget about Wakanda Forever and Shang-Chi? Those were also good. Like, those were equally as good to me as Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Yeah.
That being said, this movie ain't for kids. I think we've already said this on this podcast. Do not take your little ones and your little tots and your little toddlers to go see Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was not for kids.
It wasn't. But the storytelling was good.
Especially kids who like animals.
Right. The storytelling was good. It's got a lot of like heartfelt moments. I mean, all the Guardians of the it has the same I don't know what you want to say. Storytelling, plot.
It has some of the best character development of all the MCU films.
Yeah, it's got a lot. Like, if you like the previous two, you're also going to like this one. I would just say this one is the darkest, maybe, Marvel movie.
It's very sad. It's a very sad film.
Yeah, there's some bittersweet moments. There's some really sad moments. There's some... I will say this. When we got to a certain part of the movie, I was like, I hope we are done with the flashbacks. Like, I don't want to see another flashback part of this movie. So, like,
it's like, we get it. The origin is terrible.
Yeah, like, I got it.
You don't have to keep hammering
I was starting to like tense up. Like, oh, every time we did a flashback, I was like, oh, my body is like, we about to see something I don't want to see. Because, I don't like torture.
Right.
That's not my thing. So the fact that was kind of some elements in the movie, like, but it's still well written. Plot or character development is there. A lot of funny parts.
Yeah.
They had made a whole big deal about this the first time, the F-bomb being dropped in a Marvel movie.
I thought it was done really well.
They used it, and they used it well. Like, perfect scene scenario for how that whole part played out. But I would give it a fave, with the asterisk of it definitely had some moments where I was like, whew. But maybe that's, I'm sure that was part of the reason that they wanted from this movie. They
did a really good job. By the time it ended, I thought, I'm going to miss these characters because they've already said the Guardians of the Galaxy will definitely not return with the same cast of people. And that's fair. Fine.
Yeah.
Like I said, I liked the character development. By the end of the movie, I liked where everybody ended up, with the exception of maybe one, but not wholly.
There was how a certain pair ended up. I was a little like, oh.
But
really?
The longer I thought on it, I was like, oh, it's okay.
I mean, it makes sense, but I would have changed it if I were James Gunn. But he did that on purpose.
It was a creative choice, which I respect.
There we go. There it is. Creative choice I respect, but it did make me a little sad.
So I do want to put this under the category of fave. Absolutely.
All right. Fave it is. Next up, Fast X, which came out in mid-May, something like that.
You are committed to this.
I'm trying.
I am.
Listen, we about to get into a territory. I'm gonna be like sometime in the summer.
So, Fast X, you want to start?
Least fave.
Yeah.
Next.
This was the least fave movie.
I did not like this movie. I was disappointed. I don't even care about the next one, to be quite honest with you. And we can be done. Yeah. We can be done with these.
Fast X was one of those movies where, Fast and Furious as a whole is ridiculous.
Yeah, and we know that going in. So it's not like...
I defend these movies.
It's not like our expectations were high.
I defend the Fast and Furious franchise sword and shield. Because it's ridiculous, movie, it's egregious, it's over the top, it's nonsensical, and for those reasons I love it, because it's great turn your brain off fun. It's just
like entertainment. Like, some movies are just strictly to be entertained. However,
but Fast X kind of brought me down to earth, where it's like, oh, this is my fault.
They took advantage of that.
I encouraged this, and it went too far, and it's too late to turn it around. Right,
because we kept supporting this mindless entertainment, they took advantage and was like, well, we're going to make it even more mindless. Can you be like less, can you be negative mindless for a movie?
Fast X suffered from just about everything.
Oh,
an acting standpoint, a visual effects standpoint, a writing standpoint.
Too long.
It looked good.
Sure, beautiful gowns.
It looked good. It didn't even have the best action. It didn't even have it didn't do anything better than any of the other movies. It kind of did it worse.
It didn't do anything
better. It introduced
more people,
some unnecessary characters,
more family
that
we ain't need or care about.
It got rid of some characters that they probably didn't need to get rid of.
They brought back some characters that you like.
Brought back some characters.
How,
like,
Sway?
How?
Yeah. How do you
do this at all?
It was just
it crossed over into the ridiculous.
And people are going to say it was already ridiculous. But there was a point, like there's just a point that you can be ridiculous, but you can still have a good time. I did not have a good time watching this movie. I would not recommend it, and I will never watch it again.
Yeah. It reminds me of, you didn't watch the stories, but it reminds me of when Passions introduced...
Oh, I watched All My Children, Bold and the Beautiful. I watched the beginnings of
Remember
Passions.
when Passions introduced witchcraft?
Yeah, it got too goofy. Like Passions
crazy.
was already
was
like...
This is my fault because I watched it and I contributed my viewership.
Passions
and now we're
was
doing
like
spells.
the first story to introduce like some supernatural business. But then it got like y'all took advantage of us accepting this, and y'all took it one step too far.
Yeah.
But no, I remember I used to record All My Children on VHS, sir.
And this isn't a spoiler because they use this all through the promotion. Fast X ends on a cliffhanger. It's supposed to be,
it's a two-parter.
It's supposed to be not technically a two-parter because the next one will be Fast 11, not Fast X2.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah. Worst
use of a cliffhanger. It gets the award for, at the end of the year, we should do an award show and we should give this worst use of a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Because this was a waste of a cliffhanger.
Didn't even care.
Yeah.
Just like, get me out of here.
Yeah.
All right. Next movie.
The Little Mermaid.
That came out Memorial Day weekend?
Okay.
I think so.
I believe you.
I've seen this movie 3 times in the theaters, which automatically puts it on the fave category, baby.
Yeah. Little Mermaid was a good movie.
It was a good movie. It was cute. Singing was on point. There's at least there's 2 songs that I was like, ugh, but it didn't destroy the movie. I like
one of those songs can't be the Billboard #1 classic Uncharted Waters.
Listen, the fact that when that song came on and the first instinct was to start cracking up. Now, I read somebody's tweet that said the reason why he sounded the way he did because he was just so blindly, insanely in love. And I was like, sure, but he sounds nuts.
Uncharted Waters is going into the National Registry.
It was hilarious. We was cracking up. I was like, is he supposed to sound this unhinged? Because he sounds like he's losing it.
I went to Little Mermaid. You rewatched the original Little Mermaid prior
to going
to see
I watched the original
I
before.
did not. So when he started singing, I looked to you, was like, was this in the movie?
You sure did.
I don't remember this awful
Eric
song.
Eric did not have a song. No. So that was an original, and then Scuttlebutt was an original, and they could have got rid of both of those.
Scuttlebutt went 3 times platinum too. People appreciated Scuttlebutt after the fact. But I think it was just for like TikToks and memes.
Okay, fine. She had the song when she was getting dressed, when she washed ashore and she was getting all dressed.
On the quote unquote Jamaican people were getting her dressed.
Correct. That song was good, and I like the whole Caribbean vibe or whatever they gave it. That was good.
I like the Queen. I like the fact that was Eric adopted in the original Little Mermaid?
No, absolutely not.
So I like the fact that Eric was adopted,
mm-hmm.
and that's why he loved the sea so much, because he didn't come from there.
Yeah, he kind of had this. He had, like, for him, it was like the sea was calling to him because he wasn't originally from that town or village,
and they wanted
to
keep him there, and he wasn't
right.
from there.
Right.
He was I think they found him because he washed ashore.
Yes, he was shipwrecked.
And
he got washed ashore. But all the little story changes were good. All 95% of the music was good.
I didn't like the Ursula actress when she was in human form.
Really? You didn't
I thought
like
she was
her?
Bland.
She sung that little part though. That little 5 seconds. She was like, the rent is due and I need to sing this song. But that was, well, I guess it wasn't her singing anyway, but she acted that part like the rent was due. But yeah, I will be getting it on DVD. I don't know when it's available on DVD, but I might just get the steelbook. Yeah.
All right, next. Across the Spider-Verse. I'll go first.
Okay, because I had to think about it. So you go first.
I'll put it under Fave.
Okay.
I didn't like it more than the first one.
No.
I liked the first one more. But this did do some things better than the first one.
I like them equally. I won't say I like one more than the other.
The action was better.
The action was better.
And that could just because it was more action.
I like the storyline. With the one thing that makes me hesitate about Across the Spider-Verse is that I like the other Spider men more than I like Miles.
The other Spider people?
There it is.
Yeah. This movie did a really good job at making Miles seem like the worst Spider person.
Okay. I wasn't going to go that far, but okay.
I don't know whether that was intentional, but I walked away from the movie thinking, wow, Miles is the worst Spider person. Not worst as in he's bad, but he's just the least competent and least
and I guess that's to his
capable,
credit because he was like a kid. He's a
kid.
He's a high schooler. He didn't know the other Spider people, so he's not able to like bounce and grow and learn with them. So that would make sense. I just overall characters, I like Issa Rae.
I like
better.
Issa Rae's character.
I like Indian Spider-Man. I like Spider-Punk. Like all three of those. I even liked Miguel.
Spider-Punk was my favorite. Miguel was second fave.
I liked all four of them more than I like Miles. But I would still give it a fave.
They really made them a lot more interesting.
Yes.
All the Spider people, they put a lot more time into making them a lot more interesting than Miles.
I would agree. And at some points in the movie, I forgot Spot was even a villain. I was like, oh yeah, Spot.
There was so much happening in the movie.
There was a lot happening.
But definitely putting under fave.
I
loved them having more of his family. Like his mom and dad in it.
Yeah. I agree.
It made me like Gwen less.
Gwen was there to me. For this movie, Gwen was just kind of there.
Yeah. It made me like Gwen less. It didn't make me dislike her.
Correct.
But kind of in the same way it did Miles, it kind of made Gwen seem equally less interesting because of the other Spider people were so unique. And they just looked, their costumes were better. Their power sets were better. They were a lot more competent.
They had more personality.
Yeah.
The other Spider people had more personality than Miles and Gwen to me.
But still good. Definitely going to it. Like we said, it's with Fast X. This is not a spoiler. It ends on a cliffhanger.
You know what? A lot of people didn't know that, and I didn't realize people didn't
didn't know that it ends on a cliffhanger.
Friends that I know that went to go see her were like, "It ends on a cliffhanger."
They said it was going to end on a cliffhanger when they promoted
it. Maybe us movie people knew that, but there were quite a few people who were not aware. So, spoiler alert. Cliffhanger. There's
the
part
anticipation for part 3, which I think is the final part, is high.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We don't know when we're gonna get it because immediately after this movie came out, the VFX artist hit the net and was like, "This was the worst time I've ever had making a movie ever in history."
And they said it's coming out, but guess what? It ain't coming out when they.
I think it's been on it. The third part it's categorized as it's postponed indefinitely.
Yes,
and this is pre-strikes. This has nothing to do with the strike. This is they have their own visual effects issues.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you haven't seen it and you saw the first one, recommend this one.
Transformers: Rise of the Beast.
This came out in June.
Okay.
I think.
I want to pose that because I don't know.
I would say Fave.
I would say Fave. I would also say one of the best Transformers live action movies.
We gonna divide at some point during this list. I don't know because we only got like 8 movies left.
Yeah.
But I like this one. It's kind of unfair to say, but better than the Marky Mark.
The Marky Mark Transformers are awful,
and better than the third Transformer with Shia LaBeouf.
It goes Transformers 1 with Shia LaBeouf.
Yep.
Transformers Rise of the Beast. Transformers 1 with Shia LaBeouf.
Yep.
Transformers 2 with Shia LaBeouf.
Correct.
And then Rise of the Beast.
We there.
Yeah.
We
this is number 3.
Same.
It was good. Wasn't too long. Did
good action.
Better job at putting more focus on the actual Transformers and not the humans. Too much on the humans. But I like the human actors in this a lot better than any of the human actors in the other Transformers movies.
Agreed.
Anthony Ramos is a much better actor.
Dominic Fishback
was
good.
Amazing, but also it did the thing.
What's
that
the thing?
I hate that Transformers movies do.
You said this in the previous. Did you say
this
previously?
I did because I said it about Megan Fox. Where they casted Dominic Fishback.
And she's the smartest in the room.
And she's the smartest in the room. She's the most capable.
Yep.
But they make her the secondary character instead of making her the lead.
Fair.
She should have been the lead. She knew the most going into it. She was basically Indiana Jones.
She was
Indiana Jones. And they still made her the B character where we didn't get to see anything but her. We didn't get I mean, we got some of her background about her dad, but we should have seen more of
it could have
her
been
life
her
and her family.
And Anthony Ramos does good.
He does a great job. Not taking away anything from Anthony Ramos, but just in a writing perspective, don't make your B character the most interesting character.
Yeah.
Because that's bad writing.
It kind of throws you off a little bit.
They did the same thing with Megan Fox, where they made her the most interesting character because she knew about cars. She had a criminal background where she knew how to do things and get things. And she was more brave than Shia LaBeouf. Yeah. So stop doing that.
No. But I like these. Skip the Marky Mark ones and just go see
the Marky Mark ones. And... they don't really reference any of the old Transformers movies, so you can just jump straight into this one.
Yeah, you could not have seen any.
It's pretty much a reboot because it takes place in 97, and I think in the Shia LaBeouf movies, it takes place in the early 2000s.
Okay,
in the Shia LaBeouf movies, it's supposed to be the first time the Transformers came to Earth, but now in this reboot,
they were already here.
They were already here,
right?
So
okay, cool.
Great place to start the Transformer. Oh, and heck of a after credit scene.
Yeah.
Looking forward to what they do next.
And also add one other thing, and that was good. Other surprise was Pete Davidson doing his voice acting. I was pleasantly surprised.
Pete Davidson does good voice acting.
When I saw, I was like, "Oh Lord, this movie about to be
all
something."
the voice
but no, he was
Even
good.
Ron Perlman was good.
Yeah.
Very good voice acting from everybody. Peter Dinklage was good.
Yep. So go see it, or it's on digital streaming, I think now. So go find it and watch it.
Next movie, The Blackening. I'm going to give this.
Let's say 1, 2, 3.
Least fave.
We finally got something different, but
I have a least fave for very specific reasons.
All right,
I'll let you go first.
I'll say meh because purely disappointed in the fact that it was not nearly as funny as I was expecting it. I was laughing at the movie and not laughing because the movie was trying to be funny.
Yeah. This is a least fave for me.
Ooh.
And I'm going to go ahead and say it's a least fave and that's my fault.
Oh.
I went in with the wrong impression of this movie.
Oh.
I went into The Blackening thinking it was going to be a horror comedy and it wasn't. It was a parody movie.
It was like a...
Scary Movie.
There it is. I was going to say, what was the Scream parody?
Yeah.
But Scary Movie was funny.
Scary Movie was funny.
I mean, at least the first one. Yeah. And maybe this, I don't know how
Scary Movie was funny because it was fresh, but then you think about the fact that there are 5 scary movies and they get less funny as they go.
I was going to say.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought they stopped at 3.
Then they do like different movies. They do Scary Movie. They do Epic Movie.
Right. They did Epic
spinoffs
movie.
And it got worse as it
got tired. It got real tired.
I went into it thinking it was going to be a horror comedy like Ready or Not.
Okay.
Like, you know what Ready or Not is? Ready or Not was the movie with the chick who was marrying into the family and they had to play the hide and seek game, but they were really trying to kill her.
Okay.
That was a horror comedy because there were stakes. I expected Blackening to have stakes where people were going to actually die. And I don't care about spoiling this. I thought The Blackening was going to have stakes where people were going to actually die. It was still going to be scary, but funny. I thought it was going to be actually scary and
but also be a horror movie
to break the tension. And this was kind of just like a parody. It was like
it
Scary
was worse
movie.
than a.
It was like a long SNL sketch.
I don't think they meant for it to be a parody though. Like I think they actually were going for a horror comedy. I think that's what. I mean, I can see to be right. It had the direction of a horror comedy. It started out like it was going to be a horror.
Yeah, the best part of The Blackening was the cold opening. It does the Scream thing where it has the cold opening where it introduces some characters and the killer.
Yeah, at the same time.
It had a good cold opening. I like the characters in the code. The characters in the cold opening were the best characters in the movie.
I think the acting in the cold opening was a little stiff.
It was stiff.
It was a little stiff. The tropes. It had the tropes. It had the stereotypes, but they weren't kind of how. And we're going to get to this in a second. They clone Tyrone had like some of the stereotypes and tropes, but they were really good. These stereotypes and tropes were just like you said, a parody, and it wasn't funny.
The movie just made fun of horror movies, which is fine. If that was the goal, that's fine.
But it wasn't funny.
But I do say that even though I don't think The Blackening was a good movie,
I'm glad I supported.
It had funny parts in it.
It did.
The B-side to that is that I think the funniest parts were in the trailer. and once you get past the trailer scenes,
that's true.
It's not funny anymore.
Yeah.
It even has the end like Scary Movie. Because, Scary Movie ends with Anna Faris shouting and getting hit by a car all the time. And it's funny. And this movie ends with them like laughing and getting sprayed away with a water hose. And I'm like, oh, this kind of ends like a scary movie, like a parody movie. And I was like, okay, it's a parody. I
didn't like it.
I do want to say The Blackening. I do think The Blackening should get a sequel because worse, more unfunny movies have gotten sequels.
I will go see it.
So there's no reason not to give this movie a sequel.
If I can sit through 10 Fast and Furious movies, I can sit through another Blackening.
And even though this is a bad movie, I don't regret putting my money towards it.
Absolutely not.
And I absolutely will support and campaign for a sequel.
This has a pretty high critic score and I think audience score. So people should see it for themselves. People liked it. Yeah. Yeah. See it for yourselves. Yeah. Us too, it wasn't our flavor, but you should absolutely see it and make your own judgment.
And that's why I said I'm going to call this a least fave, and I'm going to blame myself for it being a least fave because maybe my expectations were too high.
All right. So. Listen, support the movie, go see it, and make your own judgment.
And let's make sure it gets a Blackening too, because
I think it did really well at the box office.
Yeah, and it made its money back because it's horror, and horror is the cheapest movie to make. So
I think it made its budget. So
go ahead and start greenlighting that as soon as the writer strike is over. Get in the writing room and start.
I go see it. I would give it another chance.
Get the Megan writer. She's black.
Heck yeah,
she's a heck of a writer.
And she
knows how to write something.
She'll horror up the heck of that movie.
get her on deck.
She will horror up a movie. Yeah. All right. Next on our list is Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. I'm gonna call this a fave.
I'm gonna call it a fave. This was a really good movie.
I enjoyed the last 30 minutes most.
You are an Indiana Jones fan.
I am.
I am not. I don't dislike Indiana Jones, but I just don't like the feeling I get when I randomly want to watch Jurassic Park.
Okay.
I think you get that feeling with Jurassic Park and Indiana Jones.
I haven't seen the Indiana Jones. We watched these at Angloria's house growing up.
Yeah.
That's so Indiana Jones gives me nostalgia.
Yeah.
That's what
I like Indiana Jones movies. I just don't gravitate towards them.
Yeah.
This was a really good movie.
Yeah. It didn't do well at the box office, so I think the people were like not jiving with it, but the story was good. The new characters were good. They made some callbacks to the old Indiana Jones, and I just really liked how they kind of did that third act. The third act was amazing. Third act was good. Mads Mikkelsen, villain,
really caught you off guard. You were really ready to throw in the towel and be like, this is all ridiculous. And then it pays off. And it's like, wait a minute. This is ridiculous and crazy. In the same way that most Indiana Jones movies ramp up at that third act where it jumps into the ridiculous.
They like you said, it paid. Like, you're like, what are y'all about to do? And it paid off.
It was like, wow, you guys actually did this.
Yeah, right. Kudos. I was like, there's no way we about to,
kudos. You actually pulled this off.
Okay. So if you liked all the other ones, I would say definitely give this one a try. If you haven't seen the other ones, you might be missing some context.
You might just be missing context as far as
who he is,
why certain characters seem to already know each other. But I think that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a fun watch though.
All of his movies are not tethered together.
Right.
They're separate adventures.
I think so, yes.
With some reoccurring characters. I really liked it. It does dip into old man action, but I think they balance it out by introducing new characters
that balance out his old man action.
Yeah. Gotcha. That balance out the old man action.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part Uno. I'm gonna call it a fave. Yeah.
I'm gonna call it a fave because it wasn't bad enough to be mad. It wasn't a bad movie.
It wasn't a bad movie. They made some decisions.
They made some
that were not good.
They made one decision I shall never forgive.
You feel about that decision like I felt about how they did the last James Bond movie, and I will never let that go. If you haven't seen the last James Bond movie, I'm not gonna spoil it, but the ending really ticked me off, and for days I was upset.
Yeah, and they messed up with me because they made that mistake in the halfway point of the movie.
They sure did.
And for
the
rest of the film, I was uninvested in anything else that happened.
I will say this Mission Impossible was not better than the last one.
Absolutely not. Not better than the last three.
fair enough.
Yeah, this Mission Impossible was not close to better than the Henry Cavill one.
It wasn't bad. Good action. It's funny because the scene that they most hyped up, which is the one, this is not a spoiler, of him jumping off the cliff, was actually not the scene that I thought was the most like actiony action scene. I thought it was a scene on the train, which
that was in the trailer.
Yeah.
The train scene.
The train scene, that once you see it played out in the theater,
that was tense because
that was way more tense than him jumping off the cliff.
Mostly the whole third act of the movie was on the train.
Right. And it was like they did
a really
busy.
good job with doing a lot of stuff in a tight space. It was tense.
Yeah. You could feel that like something was about to pop off.
They really had me in moments where you thought characters were going to die.
Yeah.
Or you were like, oh, this could take them out. This could be the end of this person.
Yeah.
It had some shock value to it as well. I liked the villain and I liked the premise.
Yeah,
I thought the premise was very appropriate for the time.
I liked all of the actors, but one they kind of hyped up unnecessarily.
Yeah, they introduced one unnecessary character that even now I don't think should have been included in the movie.
We don't need it. I don't think they're going to be in the second one. Well, we don't know.
And they don't have to be. And that's kind of how they leave it off. Where even though this is a part 1, part 2 can be a completely different movie. It could have the same villain.
It could. I think that's kind of how they purposely. So backtrack. Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1 does cliffhanger 1,200 times better than Fast X did. For them both to be 2-part movies.
It does cliffhanger really well, but it also does a good job, which is strange. It ends on a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
But it puts everybody it resets everybody.
Right.
Back to where they were at the beginning of this movie so that the new movie
can start off kind of fresh.
Like a fresh film.
Yeah.
It puts everybody back into place.
Yeah. Like there's another mission, you know that because this says part 1, but it's not like you don't know, well, what just happened?
I think
it happened in the movie, so you can kind of wait.
Like with the other Mission Impossibles, they always start with the get the team back together scene.
Yeah.
I think in the next movie they don't have to do that.
Right, because the team is already together.
Because the team is already together, and I think that's the only difference.
And they need to resurrect somebody from the dead.
And that wouldn't even be the first Mission Impossible movie where the team was already together at the beginning.
No, because they was probably back together at the last one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I liked it. I'm putting
only
it under
caveat I would say with this one is you probably need to see all the other ones.
You at least need to see the last 3.
Yeah. So this is not to just go in and start Mission Impossible at this movie. Yeah. You need to kind of go back a little bit.
The last 3 movies are the start of the family.
Got you.
This is the last 3 Mission Impossibles are the start of the Fast family.
And
we have a set group of cast that reoccur across these movies, and it has more continuity. So absolutely, yeah.
Next movie, I guess we don't have to talk about this next one too much because we do have a full episode on this one.
We do,
but They Clone Tyrone.
Go ahead and listen to our They Clone Tyrone review episode if you want full details. But
we're calling it a fave, baby.
We're calling it a fave.
It was good. It was better, and I think I said this in the episode, so we ain't got to spend too long on it. But better than not that I thought it was gonna be bad, but it was better than I thought it was gonna be.
It was better than I thought it was gonna be. I also thought that I felt bad that I missed it in theaters. Even though it was a limited release.
It was only
I would have absolutely loved to see this in theaters.
Yeah, absolutely. So They Clone Tyrone. Go watch our previous episode for full breakdown, but we both enjoyed this movie quite a bit.
Yeah.
All right. Next up is Barbenheimer. Both came out the same weekend in June. Obviously, this is Barbie and Oppenheimer. We didn't do episodes on this because we hadn't started our podcast yet, but I'm going to say fave to both.
Barbie was a fave. Oppenheimer was a fave.
Barbie was very good because I like that they didn't put some of the plot, like the twist, or I don't even know if it was a twist, or if you would call it a twist, but there's a certain part of the plot that they didn't include in a trailer, and I like that because it would have kind of spoiled
Barbie
that experience in the movie.
Yeah, Barbie didn't sell everything at face value.
Yeah.
You actually had to watch the movie. And very quickly does it say,
no, this
is not the movie you think it's going to be.
Yeah.
Very
that
quickly
was good.
It does it.
That was
and
good.
I thought it was really good.
Mm-hmm.
All of the I wouldn't call them stunt casting because they actually stuck around, but all of the casting of
all the other Barbies and Kens
who are actual actors who are actually currently in stuff, I thought was really good. I thought the campiness of it was really good.
The set design was
amazing. The costuming was equally amazing, but probably the easiest thing to do because all of the costuming was pre-existing Barbie costumes.
Yeah.
Barbie outfits.
Yeah, they
Barbie
just
and Ken
they
clothes.
life-sized the Barbie outfits.
So they just life-sized all the already existing Barbie and Ken. So there I had blueprints for everything. So they nailed that.
Yep.
I don't want to spoil it, but all of the acting was good.
Correct. And
it was very emotional.
It did have some emotional beats. Good comedy, though. It had a good mix of comedy, emotional beats. There's a lesson. It's a lesson type of plot. So the plot is trying to give you like a lesson of, not going to spoil it, but there's definitely a theme.
There's a theme.
There's a theme for Barbie. It is not a kid's movie.
It is not a kid's movie, not because it's inappropriate, just because
no crude. They didn't have like any like crude
outside of them
jokes.
Being Barbies. It's an adult movie, not inappropriate. It's just an adult movie.
It would just go over an 8-year-old's head.
Yeah, and an 8-year-old would. And I don't even think
they wouldn't enjoy it.
It's not
they
alone. Not just it's not for kids. I don't think a kid would like this.
They would just be like, "This is not the Barbie I thought it would be." So I wouldn't call it a kid movie. Yeah. So Oppenheimer is a fave. Also a fave.
A lot of people think Oppenheimer. Well, a lot of people feel that Oppenheimer was boring. I am somebody who hates biopics. I am totally 100% not interested in the retelling of somebody's life.
I think I knew this.
I don't like biopics. Just like I don't like musicals, but there's an exception.
I definitely don't like musicals.
I don't like musicals, but
unless it's Disney.
I like Barbara of Seville. Okay. Oliver.
Okay, I like Oliver.
Those are my musical exceptions. And Sweeney Todd.
Okay.
Oppenheimer was very good. It was very good because the acting was really good.
The story.
The story was really good. Music. It's Christopher Nolan. The music was top notch.
Chef kiss. Yeah. All the music in the movie was good.
Christopher Nolan is an amazing director.
He's still good.
He knows how to shoot a scene. He knows how to direct a scene. And the pacing. It was very strange because the number one complaint about the film was
too long.
But it was back to back to back to back.
It did not. Every scene, something's happening. And it did not feel like 3 hours because in every scene, there's not he's literally giving you something every scene to pay attention to.
Absolutely.
And it does have that Christopher Nolan-esque thing of you need to pay attention.
You need to pay attention.
Like this is not a be on your phone scrolling type of movie.
One of my favorite things about Christopher Nolan films is the dialogue. It's very snappy back to back to back. People are talking at a mile a minute.
You better be paying attention.
It's funny because conversations in real life don't happen like that.
You're right.
Because usually when somebody says something to you, think about your response and then you say it. These movies, the Christopher Nolan dialogue goes back to back to back. People don't have a moment to think about what they want to respond for. They're already saying something.
It moves.
Yeah.
The 3 hours moves for sure.
All the acting was good. Cillian Murphy, probably the best acting I've ever seen from him. Florence Pugh is definitely making a name for herself.
She is.
She's been good in just about everything I've seen her in.
She's trying to diversify that filmography.
Emily Blunt was really good. Emily Blunting it up.
RDJ
was really good in it.
Rami
Malek was good in it. Josh Hartnett. Surprised. I was very surprised by him.
Listen, he could be Batman.
He was considered to be Batman.
Right, that was the story.
He was considered for the role of Batman.
James Gunn need to hire him as Batman.
Rumor mill is that Josh Hartnett, maybe Dr. Doom.
I'll take it.
Which after this, I take it. Because after Tenet, I accepted Robert Pattinson as the Batman, and that paid off. And I think Josh Hartnett has been around long enough and is a good enough actor. He could definitely.
Hopefully, he's in more stuff now. Then too.
Absolutely.
So Barbenheimer is a fave for us.
Yes. Next, Haunted Mansion. We're reaching the bottom.
I'm gonna call Haunted Mansion a fave.
I'm gonna call it a fave. I enjoyed it.
It was a cute movie. They just released it at the wrong time.
I think hint hint. I think Haunted Mansion is cursed. I don't think anybody's interested in Haunted Mansion movies.
You're right. Because the last one didn't do good either, right?
I think Haunted Mansion was one of those Disney rides turned into a movie.
Correct.
Like Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yep.
They haven't been able to replicate that since Pirates of the Caribbean.
Nope.
I think Pirates of the Caribbean was like
Lightning in a bottle.
Lightning in a bottle.
And then they ruined it.
They're doing another one called Tower of Terror.
They are. So they about to see if it's going to work for the third time.
And this is the second Haunted Mansion movie. The
Correct.
original one starred Eddie Murphy. Well, the original modern one starred Eddie Murphy.
Yeah. So it's going to be on Disney Plus, I think, starting in October. So definitely check it out.
I think it's going to blow up. And
it's not too scary for kids. It's a kid movie.
Yeah, I think it's going to blow up. It's very interesting because Goosebumps also comes out in October. So Disney is competing with itself again.
Goosebumps we talked about this. Goosebumps is not for the tots. Haunted Mansion is for the tots.
After that trailer, I feel like Goosebumps can be for
But
anybody.
Goosebumps is based in high school for high schoolers, and then Haunted Mansion has like I don't know.
Haunted Mansion is definitely for smaller children.
Right.
It was good. It was funny.
It was funny. The cast ensemble worked well together.
It did comedy well, and it did the emotional beats really well too. And I liked the child actor. The child actor in Haunted Mansion was really good and not annoying, and he had use and purpose.
He was funny,
and I appreciate.
And I like the plot twist.
And I like the plot twist.
That was probably my favorite part of Haunted Mansion was outside of how the characters bounced off each other, the plot twist.
And sure, I like the fact that she did not have to see Jared Leto in the movie.
Also correct.
Yeah.
You couldn't even tell that man was voice acting. I was like, perfect.
Next movie, Meg to the Trench.
Let's do a countdown because I think we're going to say the same thing. 1, 2, 3.
Least
Least fave.
What a way to catch lightning in a bottle and then throw it at a wall.
How do you have a Meg movie with not enough Meg? I don't get it. I don't get it, Jason. Come on. You gotta. I feel like Jason Statham is like the Rock of this franchise, and he should have had
Statham's fault.
He should have had some pull to be like, y'all ain't enough Megs. We need more Meg, more Meg,
Jason
more Meg.
Statham played the same character.
He did fine.
He did fine.
He did fine in
the
this movie.
acting was all fine.
It was typical Meg acting.
The writing was some of the worst writing I have ever seen.
The villain, you know what I don't like about movies is stupid villains. That's my thing. You don't like old man action? I don't like stupid villains.
I don't like stupid villains either, but
every
they were dumb.
Stupid villain in this movie, I was just get rid of them. They were just get rid of them.
They were just one note. They were just bad for the sake of being bad. And they were bad when they didn't. Whenever you have a villain
I like a smart villain.
Whenever you have a villain who's like, oh, I'm just doing this because it'll make me rich. It's like, oh, that is so base. That's so level one villain. What else?
At least Thanos was trying to save half the universe. Like, geez.
Yeah, it was what's the word? Altruistic. You have you don't agree with them, but you believe that their goal has a purpose and a reason. The reason can't just be
I want to be rich.
I want to be rich.
Sorry.
As a villain in 2023, it's like, yeah, we all do. Are we all villains?
Right.
Because
I just
but outside of the villains, I mean, let's just talk about the fact that this movie included
plot.
3 Megs, which are the biggest sharks that have been known on Earth, and you barely saw them.
There was like maybe 5 minutes collective.
The Megs weren't even the B villain; they were the C villain. Because outside of the human villains, you have these like
octopus or something.
No, these
Squid?
like 4-legged velociraptor things.
Oh yeah,
swimming
I forgot
and running
about
around.
The fake raptors,
which doesn't make sense because here's the thing.
Wait.
Science faux pas.
Hello, because we probably gonna say the same thing. If not, you can go after me.
You go first.
The things was from underwater, and somehow they evolved in the span of 30 seconds and could walk on land.
Not just underwater. Because a whale is underwater. We're talking about under a trench.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They were 12,000 leagues under the sea.
They were under the ocean, but they were in a ocean, part of the ocean that's so different. It's just not a regular ocean.
Yeah. It's like super ocean underneath super ocean.
Under sulfur.
Yeah. Under a sulfur layer.
They've never been exposed to oxygen or light.
And somehow they survived on the land
somehow
like a dog.
They get to land and they're thriving.
They're like a dog. They're like bunnies, just hopping around, kicking it, eating people.
I also don't care about spoiling this movie because I don't think anybody should see this. I don't even want y'all to see it on digital. I don't want y'all to even pirate it. Don't even risk getting an email from the MPAA about pirating this movie.
No,
do not watch it.
Save your time.
We also get an octopus
Yeah,
a giant squid
of some sort.
Which
came up for like, what, 30 seconds?
Came up for 30 seconds, but kind of
did some things.
I
don't even remember how it got killed. Did it get killed? Did it live?
It got killed off screen.
Oh.
We see the Meg fight it, and then
that's right. They like went
off
down,
screen, and we don't see it anymore.
But
yeah, it had 3 Megs, and we saw a third.
I don't even think we saw all
movie.
3 Megs together on screen.
We saw them once together on screen where they were mating.
Oh, great! That was nice. Skip it.
I just don't understand why they did this.
And I don't remember how well it did at the box office, but I think it kind of struggled.
I think it made bored, but
this should be a lesson.
The reviews coming out with 100% across the board negative reviews was not a mark against the movie because everybody expected it to have.
Yeah, so
reviews.
when the Rotten Tomatoes score first came out, I think it was at like 0%, and people were like, "Oh, perfect! This means that it's good dumb fun."
Yeah,
it
like
wasn't
Fast and Furious. I went into it with the Fast and Furious expectation of fun.
It was just dumb, no fun, none. I was like, when is it over?
And just like dinosaur movies, you put a shark in a movie, I'm gonna see it.
I need to see the shark.
I'm a Shark Week fan.
Hello, like, see,
sharks were barely in the movie.
It's called The Meg, and we didn't see enough.
Our characters faced literally every other threat except for the sharks.
It's like under-seasoned chicken, underwhelming. I don't want it. Get it out of here.
Yeah. So boo.
Don't see it. That's, if you couldn't tell, don't. And our very first episode of the podcast
was Meg
too. So if you want to see us go in even more, watch our
very
first episode
of Vaguely Nerdy Podcast. Is
one
our
of
Meg
one.
2, the trench review, and it is a good time.
Yeah,
we did a good job roasting this film.
Hello, our podcast episode is better than this movie.
Absolutely,
I'm just gonna say that. Yeah. Toot my own horn there.
Last on the list, number 21.
All right, I'm gonna do countdown since it's our last one. 3, 2, 1. Meh.
Yeah. Blue Beetle was such a meh movie, and I went in with I said I was not going to go in with low expectations. I did not go in with low expectations.
Oh, you didn't?
I went in with an open mind.
I didn't.
Because
my expectations
I knew that the movie was going to be derivative.
Did you think it was going to be that derivative, though?
Yes.
Oh.
It was as derivative as I expected it to be.
Okay.
But it just did it in a non-new way. It was derivative in the copying sense. It was like copying somebody's homework, but it was copying somebody's homework from like 2008, like with an old, outdated textbook.
Looking over the shoulder.
It was like copying somebody's. I think
you went to Kinko's and just was like, run it.
I haven't been in school in over a decade, and it's my understanding that I'm hearing from the children today that they do math differently.
Yeah, math is weird now.
So this is like derivative in the way if I went back to school and did math the way I knew how to do it, while everybody's doing the new math. And it's like, ooh, this is old.
They do math real weird.
Yeah.
But so our actual third episode of our podcast is our Blue Beetle review. So if you want us to hear us go even more into detail of what we liked, we like some things.
I won't go on a tangent, but
we like some things. We dislike a lot of other things.
My belief is that a movie can be as derivative as it wants because it's 2023. Movies have been made forever. It's not surprising that it's hard for writers to come up with new ideas. So a movie can be derivative, but if you're going to be derivative,
just so copy paste,
introduce something new, or at least do it well. And this didn't do either.
It
didn't do anything new, and it didn't do it well.
You've seen this movie. Even if you haven't seen this movie, that's how I would describe it.
It's more than that. It's like you've seen this. This movie was Iron Man 1, and we're in 2023.
Iron Man 1, Thor 1.
We're at Armor Wars now.
Captain America 1.
Yeah.
Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire 1.
It's using the origin movie in the old formula.
Yeah, that's why I named all them old movies.
And it sucks because
it's not even Homecoming. Spider-Man Homecoming.
If we talk about Homecoming is an origin movie, is a current version of a superhero origin movie.
That did it well,
And this one just copied old homework.
Phase 1 Marvel.
Phase 1 homework. And it just wasn't good. And it makes me I'm going into Aquaman 2 with an open mind, but it does make me a little bit weary about Aquaman 2 because Aquaman 2, like I said, looks derivative. And I hope it's just not copying Thor: The Dark World homework. I hope it's doing a more modern take on the Dark World.
We are going to see, because we will recap and review Aquaman for sure. That comes out December 20th, so quite a few episodes away from now. But Blue Beetle, I mean, I'm gonna put it with the.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad movie.
Okay, you're right. It wasn't a bad movie. See it for yourself. Come to your own conclusion. And that's with all of these movies. You might think some of our faves you didn't like, but you've seen it. I'll just say you've seen it.
It wasn't a bad movie. I was just so bored.
Listen, when we were sitting in the theater and you showed me what time it was, I fell out of my
chair.
chair.
And I checked my phone. And when I checked my phone to see what the time is, that's...
Now, there's good ways and bad ways of that. Sometimes I check the phone and I'm like, oh man, there's only an hour left. Like, oh my God, like it's about to end.
That was 65. When I'm checking the phone and I'm like, there's 5 minutes left.
Right. I'm like anxious. And then check your phone and you're like, oh Lord, I still got an hour and a half of this. Good.
And then there's like Oppenheimer. Check my phone. It's like, ooh, do I have to pee?
Yeah. Well, I checked my phone during Oppenheimer because after the bomb went off, because I was like,
what else?
What the heck else is he about to do for this other hour and a half? Yeah. So that's, so there's reasons why you check your phone, but if you like check your phone and then you do like I did.
When am I free? That was when I was checking my phone.
I slumped over in my seat like, oh my God. That's not a good sign.
Where is freedom?
But yeah, so that is our rapid review. I don't know how rapid it was, took an hour, but whatever. Of all the movies we've seen in 2023, we have 3 more months pretty much of movies to see. And our next episode, we are going to see something good.
Yes.
It is
something I'm excited about.
It is The Creator coming out September 29th. If you haven't heard about it, definitely check out the trailers. We've talked about it a couple times.
John Denver Washington, Gemma Chan, Ken Watanabe. Amazing.
The director is the same director from Rogue One.
We've already gotten early impressions. First of all, Rogue One, best looking Star Wars film.
What's the director's name? I'm blanking.
Gareth Edwards.
There it is.
Rogue One, best looking Star Wars film.
Highly rated.
If you have not seen Rogue One, watch Andor or watch Rogue One because they have the best cinematography and they're both the best looking Star Wars has ever been.
Like highly rated amongst critics and fans.
Yeah.
I know that much.
We're already getting early impressions about the creator. Everybody's saying this, everything from the score to the cinematography to the acting to
best
the writing.
Best sci-fi movie of the year.
I haven't heard anything negative about it, which usually makes me weary about a movie.
Yeah, because
it seems like it's general across everybody.
There was there was a press screening last weekend. I think the review embargo lifts on Monday. But I mean, I saw a couple people saying that one interesting person tweeted that the movie almost made them cry, but it wasn't emotional enough to make them cry, but it was still a good sign. So the only thing I saw that might have been a critique is that maybe some of the emotional connections they didn't feel amongst John David Washington and the little girl. But I mean, that's probably more personal opinion than anything. But
looking at it, it not that it looks like the movie's going to be like this, but it kind of reminds me of Elysium. With Matt Damon, Jodie Foster. That was kind of emotional by the end of it. Yeah.
So you will hear if all this pans out for us in our next episode because we will be going to see it.
Also, AMC, Cinemark, get it together.
Hello? I check every day for either Dolby or XD.
Because I really don't want to see this on a regular screen.
And I cannot find it. And you will find out in our episode what we ended up with. And I can tell you right now, it won't be IMAX.
It won't be IMAX. But I definitely want to see this in at least Dolby.
I need a big screen.
Because it's a score by Hans Zimmer.
With like loud speakers and sound. So I'm going to keep XD. Checking.
So
if we cannot see it in Dolby or XD, we already going to start off a little sad. Yeah. But it'll be okay. The movie is getting good reviews. Probably going to be amazing. So make sure you check out our next episode.
All right. And thanks for listening. Make sure you like and subscribe. We are on every podcast streaming platform.
Yep.
If you can, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, 5 stars. And don't just leave a star rating. Review us.
Type of little words.
Yeah.
Little little snippet
It helps
of how
us
you
go
feel.
a long way with making sure we reach as many listeners as possible. And until next time.
Peace.